putting on your face, I promise you'll go wash. So anyway, join with me. I'm on 5 to 7 Saturday afternoons on KTSA. When Bob lets me, I fill in for him. And it's funny that he does 100% gardening show, and they know I can't do it, so they don't even call and ask the same questions. But thanks.
Why don't we pass it back down to John? Everybody knows who I am.
Oh,
yeah, no. Anyway, I'm very privileged to talk to you all, of course, Saturday and Sunday mornings on KTSA Radio. My business partner and I do have Shades of Green Nursery, where we dispense a lot of organic and natural materials. That's one thing I want to talk about before this afternoon's over, is what's wrong with the organic standards and how do we fix it? I mean, USDA has bastardized the term organic to where it's virtually meaningless these days. And I think those of us who really believe strongly in getting away from toxic things are going to have to come up with a better system. Whether it's like the people up in Oregon have done or some other parts of the country. But anyway, we enjoy helping folks grow things organically. And I think just the proof is in the results. And one of the most gratifying things to us is just the people that sort of become disciples of the organic movement after they've tried it and figure out how well it works. They feel compelled to go out and try to convert their families and their neighbors and everybody else around. And that's what organics is sort of all about. And those of y'all in Texas can smile and be proud. This, as Bruce was just alluding to, everybody thinks when they think organic, somehow California comes to mind. But I got news for you. Texas is a long, long way ahead of California. And anywhere else in the country, we still have a few chemical wastelands like Houston and places like that, but it's kind of a big wasteland to begin with. We have a customer that has a big sign up in their backyard. They live in Houston but come and spend their weekends here, and they've got a sign up that says, "Life's too short to live in Houston." My thought is, if you live in Houston, it probably will be shorter with all the chemicals around. But anyway, we have Shades of Green Nursery. We do a lot of things related to organics, and it's a great pleasure to be associated with events like Festival of Flowers. Okay, if that's enough, I'm going to pass it back to John, and I'll give you guys who are in the business, if you don't want to just talk about what you think the most significant happening in the organic world this past year has been, talk about one of your new products and what you think one of the best products, or maybe one of your competitors' products, what you think some of the best new organic products out there are. So we'll pass it back down to the other end of the table.
Thanks. Well, I think that one of the big things that I'm seeing, and last year was a huge year for it, the biggest year I've ever seen since I've been involved in gardening, and that is more people putting in vegetable gardens. I think they're smart, they're wise to do that. Anytime anything can happen to our food supply, and so having a little backup. It's like a huge farm. Everybody has a little garden in their yard. It'll be one of the biggest farms in the country. San Antonio, can you imagine, with a little vegetable garden everywhere? It's bigger than any organic farm out there. And so last year, I had a 500% increase in the sale of vegetables. It just was huge. As a matter of fact, I came out in, what magazine? Time magazine, I think it was, talking about that. They came to see what was happening, and they were not surprised. They knew it, that vegetables had taken over. So that's what's going on. But my prediction for next year is all heirlooms. Heirloom tomatoes, heirloom peppers, especially heirloom beans. We're going to find some old squash out there. And everybody will be planting heirlooms. So start your own seeds. The Ladybug line has put up a product, or developed a new product. We tested it for nearly a couple of years. And that is what we call the germinator. And the germinator is a blend of earthworm castings and vermiculite and a little bit of compost also. And it's for those folks who are about to start their own seeds. You're not going to find all the heirlooms that you want. So as a result, start your own seeds. Talk about saving money and getting the ones that you want on time, starting your own seeds at home. So, and then the other thing I think that's going to happen is we're going to go back to canning. We're going to go back to putting up our vegetables and saving them, putting away our tomatoes and pickles and doing all of that again. It's rumbling in the background. but that's going to be the next thing that happens is we're going to start dehydrating or canning our food once again. And also learn how to garden year-round. The winter garden is one of the very best ones. The more nutritious plants are grown in winter. So we're going to also learn that we can garden year-round around here, and very successfully. So those are the things I think are going to happen. But my forecast is you better tell your growers that heirlooms are coming and get them after it right now. They need to get the seeds.
You have to hit them over the head with a large organic squash to get their attention first.
Well, a couple dollars. They respond to that too.
The other thing too about canning, we actually held a seminar at the nursery 2-3 weeks ago, and Marilyn Magaro, who's one of the big sponsors with Texas Department of Agriculture here, and a lady with the Texas AgriLife Extension Service. It is very interesting. If you've not really gotten up to date on canning techniques, she was saying that so many of her tomatoes are so much lower acid, so many of the new varieties out there, now this won't be true with the heirlooms you're talking about, but if your canning guides and things have not come out in the past 6-7 years, probably ought to get the newer information. The best in the country is coming out of Georgia before you start doing a lot of canning. But I would agree with you 100% between the canning, the drying, the freezing. It's going to be the only way we get good, healthy produce.
I should throw in here. I learned this in Virginia.
Right here.
Everywhere we go. No, I'm sorry. And I just got to mention it. It's just, everywhere I went, there's a lot of people doing canning. And let me tell you what was amazing, and I want you to try it. I met a lady in North Georgia, a little place called Enota. And I always can my tomatoes by blanching them, and then you wait 1 minute and you take the skins off and you put. She says, no you don't. She says, wash the damn things and freeze them. And so I took a couple dozen and I put them in the freezer laid out on a cookie sheet. And when you want to use them, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to be, you take them out, run them in tepid water for 1 minute, the skin falls off, and you've got a stewed tomato. It's so simple, you don't have to do anything. And there was every bit. I've made tomato sauce, I've made chili. Now this is not going to be a fresh tomato. Remember, once you froze them, you need to cook them. But all this stuff I was doing where I was blanching them and putting salt in the water and skinning them and putting them in mason jars, BS. Just put them in there on a cookie sheet, and when you freeze them, put them in bags. They all separate. And when you need them, take them out, run them 1 minute in the water. The skin falls off, and you use them. I just had to do that. I'm sorry, it's a middle out of line here. But folks, it works. The KISS method really does exist.
My turn.
Sorry about that. Now,
We're going to shorten his time by a minute when it gets down.
I'd like to follow up on something John said, save your own seeds. Let me show you the importance of this. After I got married and my wife and I bought us a car, all our kids, we went down to see her old grandpa's farm. She still had 2 old uncles living on that place. And they took me out in their cornfield, and I ain't never seen corn so pretty in my whole life. They were growing corn in sand, never used fertilizer. The whole place was nut grass. Every stalk was 8 foot tall. Every stalk had 2 ears, big long ears of corn on it. And I asked one of them uncles, I said, what kind of corn is this? They said, well, when Papa and Mama got married 82 years ago, each one of them brought a corn to the farm. And they planted them and got all mixed up. So every year, they would always save the best from the best all the time. And they developed something that would grow in poor sand, full of nut grass, no irrigation, no fertilizer, that nobody could touch the quality of our corn. It was beautiful. Never seen corn like that. Well, I asked them for a few ears of that corn, just think what it would do on my composted blackland irrigated corn. So I planted it. Oh, I had big, beautiful stalks. So I went and pulled the ears off. They were empty. Not 1 grain. They were grown up in that one spot. And another story on that, I went into Fannick's nursery. I think all old people know where Fannick's nursery was. That old man only went to the 4th grade, but when A&M needed to know something, they called him. And when I went to the store one day and I bought a bunch of seeds, and I asked Mr. Fannick if these were all adapted here, he said so-so. Took a big puff on his pipe, blew smoke out. Daddy lit into me and gave me a sermon. He loved to do that. He said, if you want something good, you got to develop it yourself. He said, if you walk around this nursery, you're going to see a lot of plants with my name on it. I said, how do you do that? He said, well, you start out with the best and save the seeds from the best every year. Those old timers knew this. Now, y'all know it.
Well, I hope you're right, because my new book is called Heirloom Twins.
She paid them to get it.
You'll all want to get one. I have to say, this has been a really weird year. We have the worst environmental catastrophe ever going on right now. At the same time that we are more aware of the environment than we've ever been.